All right, our Honda Ridgeline just turned 50,000 miles, so we're gonna do an oil change and tire rotation. So it's been 5,000 miles since our last oil change. We're gonna be putting in this Pennzoil Ultra Platinum Full Synthetic 0W20. There's our oil filter, and so we're gonna change the oil. I've already loosened the lug nuts when the car was on the ground, jacked it up, removed this wheel. Always I remind you, even if you're not going to rotate your own tires, if you'll remove this one wheel, it makes accessing the oil filter and oil drain much easier for an oil change. So even if you're not going to rotate the tires, I would take that wheel off. It'll save you time. So let's get started. All right, so this vehicle takes 5.7 quarts. So we're going to put in one full jug, one full 5-quart jug, and then we're going to put 0.7 quarts, which I have marked on this picture right here. So I'm going to pre-fill my oil filter with oil. So I'm going to just pour some oil in there. So if you pre-fill your oil filter, make sure you've already accounted for that oil, because it does count towards that 5.7 quarts. So I don't want to pre-fill it and then get 5.7 quarts or try to guess how much I put in that filter. So you can either pre-fill or not pre-fill, but make sure you count it if you do. Okay, so I'm just going to take my finger, I'm going to dip it in the clean oil. I'm going to lubricate the seal, the rubber seal. So now, get all around it, outer edge and all that. That'll keep it from sticking to the base. So now that's ready. So now we're going to begin by removing our oil filter. Alright, so our oil filter is right here. So I say taking this wheel off is great. Got this metal bar right under it, and so I've tried a lot of things. I usually just take a piece of this plastic sheeting and wrap around it, but today I'm going to try this Glad press and seal. I'm going to go ahead and just rip off just a little bit of this stuff. So press and seal, if you've never used it, it kind of sticks to itself. So like for food leftovers, it's like you seal it around a plate or a pan, and then you can unstick it, use the food, and then put it back. So I thought it might be good for this. It might be a little easier to use than the plastic sheeting, since it would stick to itself. So I'm going to kind of feed it through about halfway. Just kind of spread it out on that metal beam. First time using this, don't know if it's a good idea or a bad idea. I always get comments recommending, different tricks, and I have tried them on this particular application, and just usually find that they don't work as smoothly as on cars with more clearance. But this right here, the reason I wanted to try the press and seal is I was able to just feed it through one time on the top, grab it on the bottom, and wrap it around itself. Whereas on the plastic, because it sticks to itself, whereas on the plastic sheeting, you have to sit there and feed it through and grab it and make loops. So then that's just more of a pain. So I already like this better. I'm not saying it's going to work great, but I think it's a good try here. So first thing we're going to do is take off our oil filter. Grab me a rag, grab me a plastic container to take to the recycle for the old oil filter. So I use the strap style wrench, because it's skinny. I can get it under there. So once I get it loose, I go ahead and get my wrench out while it's still clean. And then I spin it slowly so that once I get that oil coming out, I can just kind of let it sit there for a second, let it drip down. See how it's dripping on that bar, and it's dripping into my oil pan. So I'm gonna spin it a little bit more. So all we gotta do is just wait a few seconds. I'm gonna find a clean spot on the filter and try to keep, okay. So all that's pretty much done. So if you just back off for a couple seconds, that little bit drains right out. I can finish spinning this filter off. By the way, I always do this when the oil's warm, so this filter, you know, has some heat to it. Makes your oil flow nice. So then I just turn the filter upside down in my drain pan to get it to drain. All right, I'm gonna grab a rag, kind of wipe the glove off some of that excess oil. And then it's not like the oil pan where the oil will just keep on dripping. The filter, once you get it off, you're okay to go ahead and. So we're gonna peek at our old filter. We confirm that that black ring is still on there, and I'm gonna wipe these threads where the new oil filter is gonna go. I'm gonna wipe this surface where we're gonna tighten the filter up to. Let's clean that off really good. Just kind of get all the surfaces with my finger with the rag. And go ahead and get a quick shot of that. Okay, so what I was doing is wiping off that surface so it's nice and clean. Make sure your black rubber seal's not on there and everything's clean. All right, so now I'm gonna grab my filter that we have already prepared, and you don't need a tool to tighten this. You just want to hand tighten. So if you pre-fill it, make sure you don't tip it and spill it on your way over. So I'm gonna put it up in there. Gonna line those threads up. They're slightly angled, so it's not quite straight up. And then just go easy. So if you meet any resistance, back off and start over. You don't want to cross thread. So it'll just spin on easy when the threads are lined up. We just contacted the base. I'm gonna turn it, and then because my hands are oily, I'm gonna go ahead and see. I'm gonna grab this pressing seal. See how easy that came off? So now the trick is, dragging it off without spilling that oil on your bar that it caught. So we got that off of there. The only oil I see right here on this edge where it dripped off the pressing seal. So I'll wipe that clean. That is my new way of doing it right there. So that is effortless. So now I'm just gonna grab that filter. I'm gonna by hand just hand tighten. So that's all I need to do. Just clean that filter off. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and wait. I'm gonna let that filter drain while I don't want to get oil on it when I drain the oil. So I'm gonna go ahead and tip it upside down again so the oil's not gonna leak out. So I'm gonna just take this up to the recycle and dump it in the bin. I'm gonna grab that press and seal out of my oil drain pan and get it in the trash can. Okay. Alright, just to show you where our oil drain bolt is, coming in this way, you see our blue oil filter right there that we just changed. And then coming in under the car this way, there's that oil filter, you see. And then coming back in this way, this is our oil drain bolt right there. So that's what we're gonna be loosening. You won't be able to see that on the video, but that's exactly where it is. So you can kind of tell where we're at. So this takes a 17 millimeter socket. So I have a 3/8 inch extendable ratchet here, so I can get some torque. All I'm gonna do with this one is break it free, just like so it starts to turn, get that torque off of there. And then I'm gonna be switching over to this 17 millimeter magnetic socket. It's got a magnet on the inside. So, it's got a magnet on the inside, and I'll put links to all this stuff in the description. So what that's gonna allow me to do is get that bolt off, let the oil drain out, and not lose this in my oil pan. That bolt will stick to this magnet. You can do that with any ratchet, but I use this 3/8 inch right angle ratchet so that I can get that off of there and keep my hand away from the oil, so that as soon as it breaks free, I can move my ratchet and let the oil go in the pan. So we're gonna do that right now. I'm gonna break that open. Okay, that didn't take much. When you torque things right, they don't take much. Okay, so now I'm gonna get my ratchet on there. Okay, and I'm gonna get my oil pan in the right place. And there it is. So then after that, I just kind of hold my ratchet over the oil pan while that oil's draining, so that I can wipe it off before it, drips outside the pan. So that oil coming out nice. By the way, also, I took the oil cap off where you fill the oil from above. I took that cap and loosened it all the way and just left it resting in there on its side so that I would have airflow for the oil to drain. So what you end up with is your oil drain bolt is stuck to the magnet. You don't have to fish it out. So there it is. So while that oil is draining, so you get a little oil on the head of this, but you just kind of keep it over your pan, and then I just kind of start wiping the oil off, and that's all you got to do. So this magnetic socket has really been a big help. Makes for a really simple and clean oil change. So the other thing we want to check, just like we checked the black rubber seal on our oil filter, we want to check that our crush washer is here, and it is right there. And again, usually if you use the right torque, these things will come off without using a screwdriver or something, because they're not over torqued. So we just completely clean our bolt. We removed our old crush washer. You don't want to reuse those. They're cheap and inexpensive and designed to crush under the specified torque setting so that they make a tight seal so you don't have a oil leak. All right. So our pan is in good shape to catch what little remaining oil there is. Use my rag to clean up a little bit of splatter I had on the plastic sheeting, just so I don't roll around in that or transfer it to something else. All right, so we got that. So while we've got a little bit of dripping going on, gonna get our new crush washer. I kind of organized this since my last oil change. Got the shelving. I got all my Honda stuff right here. So I've got my 3 popular Honda crush washer sizes. This would take a 14 millimeter for my oil drain bolt. These Hondas take 18 millimeter for the transmission drain bolt on my Pilot, not on this. This doesn't have one. Doesn't have a crush washer. Rear differential drain bolt on both this and my Pilot, 18 millimeter. The CRV I used to have had that same size. Also, rear differential fill bolt, 20 millimeter, and the transfer assembly drain and fill bolts take a 20. So I just kind of have them here where I can get to them. So we're going to take this new crush washer. I'm going to put it here. So to put this back on, all I'm going to need is my 17 millimeter socket that's not magnetic and my torque wrench that is already set to 30 foot-pounds. So it's going to be 30 foot-pounds. And so what I'm going to want to do is just grab a rag. I'll throw away my old crush washer. Get under here with my rag, and I just want to hand thread it. That's why I only have the torque wrench to finish it off, because I just want to make sure that. So I got my new crush washer on there, 14 millimeter crush washer. I'll put links in the description. Our torque wrench set for 30 foot-pounds. Okay. Yeah, just thread it by hand. It's already contacted the base that quick. So really no need to get a separate wrench for that. And then just any drips that you got, just wipe off with a rag. You might have got some splatter from when the oil first shot out at the pan. Sometimes it'll shoot a little bit back up. Even though I have a no splatter pad in my oil drain pan, it'll still sometimes splatter just a little bit. All right, so we got all that wiped up, so I don't need my pan under there anymore. So I'm gonna grab my torque wrench. So it's already set to 30, which is not a lot, especially when you got a long handled wrench like this. So I got it on there. So I'm listening for that first click. And when I hear that first click, I'm gonna stop. There it is, 30 foot-pounds. It's not a lot. So what we've done now is our new filter is on. Our oil's been drained, and our new our fill bolt with our new crush washer is on, and it's already torqued down. So I'm going to clean up a couple of these items, and then we're going to put our new oil in. Okay, coming in from the front, this oil fill is down in there. So there it is. There's your oil fill cap. Okay, so we're going to put it right in that hole. So that's where we're putting the oil in, right where this oil fill cap is. It tells us to use 0W20. I'll put links to everything in the description. There's cheaper options than this funnel, but I love this funnel. It's a rubbery funnel. It really works well going down in there like that. I don't have to worry about it slipping out. So remember, it takes 5.7. I got 5 full quarts in that unopened gallon or container, and then I had this up to 0.7 before we pre-filled our filter. So we're gonna pour this in, and then we will pour in the entire 5, and that'll be everything. Again, this is our Pennzoil Ultra Platinum. I'll put links to some good deals on this stuff in the description as well. Found a very good price for this top rated oil. Okay, so we put our oil cap back on, we put our dipstick back in there completely. We're gonna reset our maintenance minder. So let's let's go ahead and start it up. Okay, see that we have 50,054 miles. You can see that our oil life was at 50%. And so we're gonna come over to our screen here. I have clean gloves on right now, not the ones that I had on when I changed the oil. Probably why the screen didn't pick up my. So I'm gonna go to vehicle, go to maintenance info. Should have taken this glove off. It's not wanting to pick up my touch. I'm gonna have to take my glove off. I'm gonna go to maintenance info. Oil life is at 50%. Want to hit reset. If you like to reset, yes, reset. Okay, maintenance information has been reset. I look over here. My oil life is at 100%. All right, so some of you might see that I checked the oil life and showed you that before we did the oil change, after 5,000 miles of driving on the previous oil, our oil life was at 50%, and I went ahead and changed the oil, reset it to 100%. So everyone gets to decide their own oil maintenance intervals. I've decided on 5,000 miles as a good interval because I intend to keep my cars a very long time, and the engine oil does so much to extend the life of the vehicle that I would rather be on the safe side and go with a 5,000 mile interval than a longer interval. So you can make that decision for yourself. I don't wait for the maintenance minder to tell me something needs to be done, so I've kind of have my ideas on when things need to happen. I change the oil every 5,000 miles. I rotate my tires with every oil change. At 5,000 miles, I do engine and cabin air filters at 15,000 miles because I drive in a clean environment, mainly highway, and I do my rear differential every 15,000 miles, automatic transmission fluid and transfer assembly every 30,000 miles. So that's just what I do, but I wanted to share that with you in case somebody might wonder why I changed the oil when my oil life was at 50%. So you'll find links in the video description to all the products that I use. Also, I will put links in the video description to how to jack up the vehicle, how to do a tire rotation and all those kind of things, because I'm also rotating my tires. But I'll put a video in the description about how to do a tire rotation and how to jack up the vehicle. So I hope that's been helpful for you. Thank you for watching. Just wanted to mention one more thing. Every 5,000 miles when I do the oil change and tire rotation, I also put in this Ridgeline Complete Fuel System Cleaner and fill it up, and then try to run it pretty low to empty before I fill up again. So I do that every 5,000 miles. I'll put a link to this in the description, and also this funnel that I use. You should get one of these with your car, but with these capless fuel tanks, you can't just put this bottle in there, it'll cause problems. So I'll put a link to these extra funnels you can use to put this in your car, pour this into there. So that's just another thing I do just to kind of keep the fuel system clean. So I'll put that in the video description.